Welcome. In this October 2019 video, I want to give you some insights on the Google Analytics integration for the Open Repository platform. As a logged in or non-logged in user on Open Repository, you can view Google Analytics data when you go to the left-hand menu and click the Display Statistics button on different pages of the repository. When you do this starting from the home page, you get repository-wide statistics. When you do it from community, collection or item pages, you get statistics related to that particular object. When we look at the all-time repository general statistics, we see that we have reports here on visits and on downloads. Visits is our name for page views, and there we distinguish between file downloads and a visit to either an item page, a collection page or a community homepage. This is because in our reports we took the angle that reporting on search page visits or browse page visits or the homepage or the general homepage, that they were less interesting here to report on. So this data is not stored within the repository itself. It is queried live from the Google Analytics API and is regularly refreshed from that API. So when you see, for example, in this table, the total visits per month, we see also this split again in bitstream downloads and in visits, where in visits you have here the sum of homepage visits, collection page visits and item page visits. The fact that here the download count is higher, or downloads are generally higher than the visits, one of the explanations for this is that many users will follow a link straight to the PDF, which will result in a download, but not necessarily in any page views for your repository. Another very important detail about these figures is that we try to make them as conservative as possible, because we believe it's better to report a number that might be a little bit too low rather than a number that is way too high, because in the past we were confronted with more inflated numbers. And that's why we made the decision to, in those visits and download numbers, to only include requests to pages that have an attribute called the referrer. And the referrer basically says what page you're coming from. So for example, I'm on Google, I click a result on Google and I land on the repository, then this referrer attribute will say this person came from Google or from a specific page on Google. There is a chance that there is genuine traffic that has no referrer attribute. For example, if you directly type in a specific page of the repository and go direct. So that's why these numbers might be a little bit underestimated of the total. But we saw there is so much abuse of traffic without that doesn't have the referral attribute, that it's better to report it like this. Some other figures that you can see in the general repository statistics are top item visits all time, where the API does allow us to say, okay, for a particular item URL, give us all of the page views, or for all of the bitstreams, for a specific bitstreams, give us all of the downloads without any specific date selection, which you will later see is not something that's possible in the Google Analytics admin UI itself. Because in that admin UI, you can select the time window and you can see the data month per month. But more on that later. In terms of exports, the way how you can reuse this data right now is that this offers a printable overview. So if you click that, you have this page where you don't see the rest of the menu, which you can then print to PDF, or where you could do copy-paste selections. We don't have any spreadsheet export from here, but I will show you a few spreadsheet export tricks later directly from the Google Analytics UI. So just to recap, the things we report on page page views in Google Analytics, we call them page visits here, and file downloads, which we will later see in the Analytics UI, is tracked through a system called event tracking. This is maybe sound confusing now, but it will make a lot more sense in a few moments. Switching over to the Google Analytics UI, where I will show a few ways how to get overall repository information, is that when you land, make sure you are on the right URL, on the right website property if you have access to different websites in your account. So here I did select demo.openrepository.com. Nowadays it's called new demo, but originally when this was set up, it was called demo, so it is the same property. And one of the places where we can start is the audience overview. And in that audience overview, the first thing that I will do is I will go to page views instead of any of the other aggregations that Google Analytics offers that we don't necessarily do public UI reports on. But to make it comparable, I will select page views here. And an immediate, well, let's see if we go here by month. So we have August, September, complete months, but just have a look at September. The number of page views, overall page views, all page views with referrers and non-referrers, but also including search pages, browse pages and whatever. This number will be generally higher than what you will see here for September on the page views, or the visits here is 132 versus 700. It's a big difference because of the search, the browse pages, the home pages, these other kind of things. So you can make this range as wide or as narrow as you want, but the level of granularity that is offered in the views or that it's being aggregated by is the biggest level is by month, so it doesn't give you any data by year. And unlike our interface where you just have the print view, there are different export options available here, including directly to Google Sheets, to Excel or to CSV. But everything that's covered here in audience and in some of the other views, this mainly talks about page views, so it can track item page views and other kinds of page views. But I will now show you where you can find the data on the downloads, because it's a little bit more tricky. The reason why this is separate or different is that the main mechanism that Google Analytics uses to track usage data is the execution of JavaScript whenever you visit a page within the browser. Of course, when you do a request for a file and when you get served a PDF, if a PDF opens in your browser, it does not execute any JavaScript on your computer sending data to analytics. So that's why on the DSpace backend we have to do something special. We have to send analytics an event through the event API to say, hey, this file has been downloaded. So that's why the downloads will always be invisible from this kind of traffic, as far as I know. But you need to go through the behavior screen and then you have to go to events. And there in the event overview, we have a single event category, and the event category is a name that we gave to it when we send data to Google Analytics, is bitstream, the bitstream event, and the bitstream event signifies a download. So when I click on that, then I can see, okay, there were 3,000 bitstreams over that period, but then to know which bitstreams we're talking about, you can use this drop down, the secondary dimension, and use the page attribute. There are many different attributes, but if you have page here, then the report will show you the specific bitstream. Notice that in the repository itself, we add some metadata that we have in the database together with the data from analytics. For example, Google Analytics itself does not know what the DC title value, the title value is of this item. So in here, for example, Davidson Masters, where was it? We can show that it's related to this handle, and we can click through to the handle page, or to the item page. But this is something that you don't have in the bitstream overview here. You can only see the PDF name, the name of the PDF. But again, here you can play with the ranges, you can go more granular, you can do it by date, by week, by month, and also rely on these same exports to bring this data into spreadsheets or for further manipulation. One more thing that I want to show you is when we go back to the page views to give you an idea of what the top items are and to discover those. So I'm going back to, I'm staying here into the behavior screen, because behavior is where you can see which pages people are visiting as opposed to the audience view. So if I go to the overview, no, not the overview, you can see where your which pages are most frequently visited, but the part I'm interested in here is the site content, where you will generally see here all pages. And in the all pages screen, you can see some of the traffic to the different URLs in your repository hostname or on your domain. But if you only want, if you want items, collections, communities, basically everything that has a URL with a handle in it, you can use this dialog to say handle, and then it will filter, it will actually filter on this page, and then you can see these top handle references. Again, it's only the URL. We don't have any metadata here in analytics present. So you are just, the limitation here is that you just have the URLs, including the handle IDs. So as you can see, there's many different things that you can do, but there's also a great deal of limitations, especially because we have no impact on the data store, on the storage of the usage event itself. For example, we cannot go as granular as a specific IP address on a specific date that visited a number of pages. And also the fact that you cannot aggregate in Google Analytics, in the admin UI, you cannot aggregate items or downloads by collections, by community. And also not by metadata. That's basically the reason why we also have Atmire's statistics module, the content and usage analysis module, which is now available for sale for adding to Open Repository or DSpace Express repositories. More on that module specific is not in the context of this video. We will do additional videos about this, but contact your Atmire representative if you want to learn more about that, the content and usage analysis module that leverages the usage data that is stored, that is managed and stored in DSpace in the Solr index itself. Thank you very much.